Fight fans, buckle up. A fresh look at Brock Lesnar, age 48, swept through socials and did exactly what you'd expect. It stopped thumbs and spiked comment counts. The clip didn't tease a comeback, it didn't name a date, and it didn't need to. It simply showed the same ballistic frame that once bulldozed UFC heavyweights and terrorized NCAA brackets, still looking carved and coiled. That matters because peak Brock was never just a fighter. He was a physics problem. When a man that big still looks spring-loaded near 50, the imagination does the matchmaking for you. People start asking impossible questions. How would today's crop deal with that sprint double into a mat return? Would modern leg kick meta blunt his stance or just wake up the freight train? None of it is on the table right now, but the takeaway is obvious. Some athletes age on a different clock, and Brock remains one of them. Brock at 48, freak genetics or a real comeback tease? Drop your take in the comments and name the one modern heavyweight you'd most want him to face, prime for prime or today. Then hit subscribe and tap the bell so you don't miss the next twist. With Rafael Fiziev out and UFC Rio scrambling, Charles Oliveira took aim at the gap between social talk and real signatures. De Bronx says plenty of lightweights posted "I'll step in," but folded when the UFC actually called.
Fala minha família, todo mundo já sabe que meu luta do UFC Rio caiu. Só que olha só, não cai nesse papinho desses caras que estão aí. Ah, eu vim, aquilo, porque o UFC tá batendo lá e todos eles falam, ah, não há tempo pra bater o peso, ah, não dá pra mim. Então esse negocinho de ficar postando na internet pra ganhar hype, esquece. Esquece porque tá ficando feio. Vi um aí colocando não sei o que, o outro falando não sei o que, só que na hora que o UFC liga, o que vocês falam? Ah, não dá, deu dor de barriga, quebrei o dedo, não sei, machuquei a mão. Então para com esse bagulho que é feio. Eu quero lutar no UFC Rio, eu que pedi essa luta, meu adversário machucou, aí mais uns 10 apareceu aí falando que ia lutar, aí até agora, sempre quando o UFC liga, pô, vamos lutar? Não, não dá. Então para com esse bagulho porque tá feio. Quer ganhar fama? Faz outro bagulho. Não fica com ideinha colocando que quer lutar comigo sendo que é mentira, beleza?
Everybody knows my UFC Rio fight is off, Oliveira said on Instagram stories. But don't fall for the talk of these guys out there saying, I'm here, I'll go, because the UFC is calling, and they're all saying, there's not enough time to make weight. I can't. They're posting this on the internet to get hype. Stop it, it's not a good look. I saw one saying this, another saying that. But when the UFC calls, what do they say? I can't. I got bellyache. I broke a finger. I hurt my hand. Enough with that, it's not a good look. He didn't list names, but he did tag the conversation by sharing "Let's go" alongside headlines of Renato Moicano and Benoit Saint-Denis volunteering. Mateus Gamrot threw his hat in online too. Then came the realities. BSD's side said the timing wasn't feasible. Others pointed to weight and camp length. Oliveira's final word was "the point." I want to fight at UFC Rio. My opponent got hurt, then 10 guys show up saying they would fight. So far, every time the UFC calls, let's fight, they say, I can't. If you want fame, do something else. Don't come saying you'll fight when it's a lie, okay? That's more than frustration. It's a line in the sand. If you post it, be ready to sign it. The division heard him. Daniel Cormier rarely carries water for Jon Jones. He's doing it now. With the White House event targeted for July 4th, 2026, and Dana White insisting the lineup will be built on dependability, DC made the patriotic and practical case for Jones on that card.
Jon Jones has stated publicly he wants to fight at the White House. Even last week, he was at the Grammys or some shit like that, and he was on the red carpet speaking about how he's back testing and he's ready to fight at the White House. But Dana seems more stern in not letting him today than I have ever seen him in regards to Jon Jones. I remember when he canceled that fight against Chael, Dana said he'll never headline again. This time he seems like he is not going to back down and allow for him to be on his White House card. And if I'm being completely honest, I don't know that I agree. I think I would let him fight. I think if he wants to fight, I would let him fight, because for as much as mixed martial arts is a global sport, and it's a sport that everybody loves, and we support people from all around the world. At the end of the day, when we're fighting at the White House, you want American people that can win at the end of the night. Imagine if we're on the White House lawn and the Americans aren't winning fights. And that could happen because when the opening line for McGregor versus Chandler comes out, Chandler's going to be a pretty substantial underdog, as he should be. Even though Conor hasn't fought in forever, he will still be the favorite to beat Michael Chandler. I believe that you got to let him fight, man. I think that you put some things in his contract that makes it very costly to not follow through.
I think that I would let him fight, Cormier said. At the end of the day, we're fighting at the White House. You want American people that can win at the end of the night. He extended the argument with a safeguard blueprint. Lace the contract with incentives and penalties. If a last-minute pullout occurs without a verifiable injury, the fine is painful. If a legitimate injury is documented, no penalty. Just the same grace any other fighter gets. The point isn't to ignore risk. It's to engineer the risk into something palatable for a one-of-one stage. Cormier also gamed out two rumored centerpieces. He still favors Conor McGregor to beat Michael Chandler if that happens, and believes the opening betting line for Jones versus Tom Aspinall would still tilt toward Jon, history and aura intact. Agree or not, DC's push reframes the debate. Instead of can you trust Jones, the better question becomes can you structure a deal that makes the upside worth it? If the answer is yes, the most decorated American of his era belongs on America's biggest sports birthday party. 8 years is a long time in fight years, but Ronda Rousey can still bring a room to attention with a few clean sequences. New footage showed the former UFC bantamweight queen boxing, quiet gym, tidy mechanics, no big declarations attached. That's precisely why it landed. Ronda's shadow still stretches across two sports. She detonated women's MMA into the mainstream and dabbled with boxing interest long before crossover became a weekly headline. The tape invites a simple, fair question. If she ever wanted to box under the right rules and opponent profile, would it work? The answer lives in details: range control, exit discipline, weight of shot through the floor, not in a sizzle reel. For now, it's a form check that proves the instincts are still there and the audience is still massive. Tom Aspinall is sharpening the seam that decides heavyweight fights at championship speed, the entry to control chain. The latest training clips focus on level changes that arrive balanced. Matt returns that land with hips connected and top pressure that immediately frees the hands. A bizarre cautionary tale out of CFFC BJJ in Philadelphia. In a 6-minute strawweight match, Amanda Mazza secured back control on Emily Hansen and attacked a rear naked choke. As Mazza adjusted the bite, her arm popped audibly. Confusion followed. Referee Vitor Shaolin Ribeiro reset with Mazza still on the back, but within seconds, it was obvious something was wrong and the match was waved off due to injury. Mazza later posted that she's still smiling and plans to be back, quipping she didn't even feel my arm crack on her chin. Hansen joked she won by iron chin and clarified why both athletes paused. The pop sounded like a jaw going, not an attacker's arm. It's an odd sequence with a clear lesson. Submissions aren't just about your opponent's anatomy, they're about yours. A small angle error can turn your forearm into the fulcrum. The technical note for everyone watching: build the choking arm behind structure, shoulder alignment, head position, chest to back pressure, before you chase the finish. And if something feels wrong, it probably is. If you want fight news without fluff and with receipts, hit subscribe and tap the bell. Then drop your takes. One name who should actually step in for Oliveira in Brazil, your pick for Aspinall versus gun, method and round, and whether you'd follow Cormier's blueprint to get Jon Jones on the White House card. Your card, your call, let's build it.